the biggest storyline for me, and especially at the beginning of the season, is what is going to happen with Michigan. All indicators are that the NCAA is going to at least announce their sanctions, and everything before the season starts. That's what we keep hearing, and we're getting closer and closer to that.
Yeah.
And what level are those sanctions? Is it going to be a minor annoyance, or these are going to be major catastrophe level sanctions? And the bigger they are, the more that's going to, I think, hinder a Michigan program that's trying to rebuild.
Yep.
Does Sharon Moore get more games than the school has already suspended for, or he has suspended himself for, whatever? Do they get a postseason ban this year? There's all kinds of things. So this could be from a slap on the wrist, which means absolutely nothing, and Michigan's just they're moving full steam ahead.
Right.
To, are these some kind of crippling sanctions that cause them major problems?
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest storyline heading into the beginning of the season.
Okay.
Second, I want to talk about Oregon and Ohio State a little bit.
Okay.
We did our predictions. We released those today, and I was down on both Oregon and Ohio State. Both are, for this year, for their records. Mm-hmm. Two of these teams, these CFP contenders. And for Ohio State, they're not only replacing their Will Howard, a very experienced quarterback, but they're replacing both coordinators, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator.
Right.
They're replacing, I think, 8 of 11 starters on defense.
Right.
Tons of starters on the offensive line and defensive line. And honestly, Ryan Day has no pressure on him. He won the national championship last year. He's got a ton of talent. He's recruiting.
Yep.
If they take a little bit of a step back this year, but actually beat Michigan, nobody is going to care.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I think the second storyline is if you look at the AP, top 25, if you look at the coaches poll, all that, they just basically put Oregon and Ohio State in the top 5
yes.
just because of who they are.
Right.
But I think there's a possibility both of those teams could take significant steps back.
Okay.
Mostly because they're replacing quarterbacks. So I think that's going to be a huge storyline.
Wow. Okay.
And so the third storyline is if those two teams have like a 1 year kind of blip on the radar, 1 year speed bump, who are the teams that have an opportunity to come up? I'm not going to say replace them because nobody's going to replace Oregon and Ohio State. But I want to talk about some like lower level teams, not lower level, but some of what have been traditionally been mid-pack teams that have a chance to jump up there and have a really good year and jump on the national stage. One, Illinois. I've been high on them all off season.
Yep.
I'm still high on them. I think they end up playing. I think they win double-digit games and play in the Big Ten championship game and make it to the CFB. I think this is a huge year. Brett Bielema has had that team on a fantastic trajectory, and now they have tons of returning production, experience. Altmaier coming back, experienced, high-level quarterback play. So I just think this year is the best year for it. All matches up with Ohio State being down, Illinois having all of this experience. So I think that's one team. I think the second team that I want to talk about is Washington Huskies. Now I'm saying like they were at the top of the pack a couple years ago, playing for a national championship.
Absolutely.
But everybody expected them to come in to the Big Ten and take a backseat to those top-level programs.
Right.
And last year they kind of did. But Jed Fish had that team overachieving last year. They have Damon Williams is coming on strong. He looks really great in the bowl game last year. He got some time throughout, especially the second half of the season, played well. He's just a fantastic talent. And this team is loaded across the board, maybe not at the level that with 5 stars than an Oregon and Ohio State are, but lots of really good talent. And it's a tough place to play out there, playing at the Huskies stadium. So I think they're going to have a fantastic year. This is a good year for them to kind of make their statement when it might be Oregon taking a step back this year. So kind of Ohio State opens the door for Illinois, and I think Oregon taking a step back opens the door for the Huskies. And the third, it's still part of this third storyline, but the third program that I want to talk about in this third storyline is Indiana Hoosiers. To me, it's ridiculous that we have to look at them as like a middle of the pack team that has a chance because they made the CFB last year, went 11-1,
crushed it.
They crushed it. But I don't think anybody's fully giving them the respect that they deserve because they've just been Indiana for so long.
Right.
But under Kurt Signetti, like he's shown everywhere he's gone, he's won. I think He brought in an even better quarterback this year. They're bringing back a ton of talent. I like their schedule is favorable. Not as favorable as last year. Last year they had a more favorable schedule, but still not a terrible schedule for them. I think they can knock on the door of winning double-digit games again. Either be like a 9-3, 10-2 team, and be a borderline playoff team. And a lot of that just kind of depends on those teams on the top. But those are my 3 storylines.
Okay.
What's going to happen to Michigan and how does it affect them? The Oregon and Ohio State possibly taking a step back.
Right.
And if they do, who does that open the door to? I think programs like Illinois, Washington, and Indiana may have an opportunity this year because of my point number 2.
Okay.